Radio. We are back. We had a break. Now we are back in action here to look after everybody in the community. And when I say everybody, I mean everybody. And I have with me today a wonderful guest who's joining me today. Her name is Wajida Yusuf, right? I'm going to give you a little bit of introduction about Wajida. She is one of the stars of the community. She's a community development and an activist, yeah?
That's right, yes.
So activist, or do we call it activism? They both work together, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Right? So, Vijay, how are you then? How are you coping with this post-COVID?
Well, we've still got a week left, haven't we, for
So,
all the rules to be...
On the 19th, Boris says, take your mask off.
Yeah, I think in terms of the mask, I think some people will still continue to wear the mask just to keep safe. I know there has been reports today about people who, I think the mayor of Manchester actually said that people who are vulnerable or in the vulnerable category, some of them are really worried about the fact that some people are not going to be wearing the masks anymore. And it might make them feel even more vulnerable actually to COVID. Because let's be honest, COVID's not gone just because we've got the freedom on the 19th.
Well, all of you listening in right now, COVID is here to stay. We had COVID-19, then we went through COVID-20. Now we're on COVID-21. We've had new models that have arrived, with either that we have the Indian variant and we have the Delta variant.
Isn't that I thought that they've actually merged the two, haven't they? So the Delta variant, so much a variation of the Indian variant, but I think they've removed the Indian element of it because of certain connotations that it might have after the repercussions, sadly, that some of the Chinese community had after COVID came out as well. So,
of course, historically, every 100 years we're hit with a pandemic, right? We've had the last one in 2019. Exactly 100 years later, 2019, we had 1919 was the last one, right? The Spanish flu. Mm-hmm. Now in 2019 we had another pandemic which has absolutely changed the world dynamics, the logistics, the finance. Everybody's life has been upside down.
Correct. I think it has been upside down, but to some degree in some industries it's catapulted them 10 years forward. So, for example, working from home, that was not something that was even considered 2 years ago, a year ago. If you said to someone that majority of the UK will be working from home and the country will continue to function, people would have said no way.
Of course, all of those people, and you have them in all walks of life, you have them in every country, we call them the RTCs. Are you familiar with the RTCs?
No, I'm sure you're going to tell me.
The resistance to change.
Yeah.
So some people say home working is good, I like it. Some says I don't like it. But some of the mega giant companies like KPMG, they're very happy to do a balance for their staff. And many companies in central London are relocating their offices, or they're finding new style of working.
Downsizing as well.
Downsizing.
Hybrid working as well.
Yeah. And there is a positive change happening where people are realizing, well, even our staff working at home, they're able to claim some tax incentive, and they're also able to get a better deal from their employer. And the work-life balance and the work is not being affected. To all of those who are doing clerical work, then they are able to do it. But if you're working on a machine in a factory, then you can't take the machine home. You're going to have a different dynamic.
Precisely.
Right?
I think there's been an element of, like you said, the work-life balance. I mean, from my perspective, last year, as we know, the BLM protests happened for black equality, and it was something that I got involved in. So I held the vigil at Victoria Park in Leicester as part of that, where we... in my opinion, I don't know if I would have been able to do it had I been still driving to work and coming back. So it actually gave me extra time back in my calendar in order to be able to do some of the activism that I was able to do.
Of course, activism is part and parcel of the society that we live in the UK. When I arrived into this country with my family, I came straight into a campaign which was run by the National Front to say that we don't want Asians in the city of Leicester. Go away. You're not welcome here, right? And I cannot forget those days.
No, of course
It's
not.
part of our lives.
And I think your generation, including like my father, they do talk about the times when they were going to mosque and hiding behind cars to get home, just to get home safely, because they knew that the National Front, NF at the time, were out and they needed to get home safely. I mean, I experienced slightly two different parallels actually when I was younger. I used to spend a lot of time in Leicester and then a lot of time in Bradford as well with my grandparents. And actually Leicester, when I was younger, used to feel a lot more sort of safer in terms of being Asian. However, I lived in a predominantly white estate in Bradford at the time. And they weren't used to seeing Asian faces at the time. And we were victims of racist abuse, especially from the young males in the area who used to spend their fun time in the evening after school was to come and throw stones at the windows. And I remember just sitting there thinking, oh no, the brick's going to come through the window any moment now. And we used to, have a dog there as a guard dog just to keep us safe in order to stop people trying to sort of cause any more trouble. So I did experience some element of racism, albeit not in Leicester at the time.
Well, I must say that when we arrived here, some signs in the windows came down, and I'm absolutely grateful for that, because those signs, we used to see them in newspapers. And you mentioned dogs earlier on, and the sign was no dogs, no Pakis, no Irish. And especially in the area you mentioned in West Yorkshire, right, where in that time you had your day shift workers and your night shift workers, and they shared the same bed.
Yeah.
And there was 2 up, 2 down, and in a room there might have been 4 people staying there. And in the 60s, they went through that period of their journey of life when they came here with nothing. Of course, immigration in this country throughout history has been for the reason that this country needed staff, they needed workers. Like in the old days, these workers were called indentured slaves that went to South Africa after the slavery ended. So it ended, but another form of slavery started called indentured slaves. And these were all the Indians who were taken from their villages, and they were promised money, they were promised all sorts. And they went all over the world, to Burma, to Singapore, to Fiji, and to South Africa, all over Africa. And this is the history. And we have come into this country primarily for economic reasons, for us and also for our host country.
Correct, yeah.
Now, we are here almost 5 generations now, 6 generations we are here in this country. So to meet 5 and 6 generations, you're talking about a period of 70 years, 70 years, right? So all of you listening in right now, start counting right now. Count how many generations you are, your grandfather, your father, your sons, your sons' sons. That's 4 generations, isn't it?
Of course, yeah.
And of course, we never forget to remind everybody that Asians came into the city of Leicester in 1917 and 1918. Did you know that, Vijita?
No, I didn't.
Right?
That's a long time
The
ago.
very early Asians, there's 2 or 3 of them, they came into the city of Leicester in 1915, 1917, 1918, and then 1938, and that was the son. And then from there onwards, those families are now on generation 6 or 7. And there has been a history of immigration as far as you can remember into this country and many of the Western countries.
No, of course.
So-
I mean, you've just got to look at, obviously, there's been a lot of spotlight on the Windrush generation who are also came over for the same reasons. So, yeah.
Of course, I've just got a message here to remind everybody about Victoria Park and Spinney Hill Park for the Eid Salah there. And both of these, they require funds. And if you can go on our website on Haj Radio, you'll be able to donate some funds for them. These are for the community, Vijita. And it's not profit-making at all. Every year, we have 2 Eids. And as all of you will know that it is customary and it is tradition and it is spiritually enlightening to go and read your salah at any of these parks. Victoria Park, or Spinney Hill Park, right?
Yeah, actually, I tend to visit Spinney Hill Park for the Eid Salah, and actually it's amazing actually to see so many women having that opportunity to be in the park and pray as well. And obviously the Prophet ﷺ definitely encouraged all the family to go, including your women as well. So it is exciting. I think if people can, they should definitely support and head over to either one.
Of course, be the change that you want to see in this world, right? I'm absolutely happy today to meet with Vajida in the studio, because she is one of the women in the community who has taken an active role and has absolutely gone to another level with activism. And years ago, when we came to this country, you would not see an Asian woman or a black woman in activism at all. Mm-hmm. And now, in 2021, we have seen absolutely some fantastic people we have met, we've come across on the radio, in the media, in the newspapers, local and national, right? And they have made a difference in the recent Palestinian issues. Vajida, you yourself are very actively involved with that particular campaign. And if you could tell us a little bit about that, because I know that we were all doing our best with the flag, and how much uproar it caused in the schools in Leicester.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to understand when you are actually going to go into activism or actively look at making a change, where your skills lie initially. So for me, I'm from a marketing background. I've got a lot of experience in social media marketing, digital marketing, and that element. So, and I have a small platform on social media. So for me, it was really important to think, right, these are the areas that I know that I've got skills in. How do I bring them to the table for organizations to make change? And during lockdown, I've actually been part of 3-4 different causes. So, for example, we had Black Lives Matter, which is the cause that actually started my activism during lockdown. Then there was women's rights as well, ensuring women's safety, especially after Sarah Everard's sad murder by a police officer in London, an ex-police officer now. And then obviously more recently, the Palestinian cause, which has been incredibly eye-opening. I've had, after sharing a lot of stories, so my stance on it was to share my experiences of traveling out there. I learned so much actually traveling out there, meeting Palestinians, seeing for myself what's actually happening, and bringing that story to life on my social media and speaking to friends about it. Many of my sort of friends and people who sort of look at my content messaged me and said, we're really sad to know that these things happen. We had no idea. And for so long, we've almost played ignorant to what is actually happening in Palestine. And please keep sharing the stories and the importance as well from an Islamic perspective, Christian perspective and a Jewish perspective, actually, and as to why it's so important. And why is that region so important as well? So it's been an interesting journey to bring that to life, but also to see the protests continue. And I know that there's still work, and a lot of young people are continuing the work. I think the interesting thing has been that parents have now started to not hide politics from their children, but actually openly discuss politics and how it impacts them in the country, which is why it's now spinning into schools. So maybe there is some work that needs to happen in schools to discuss how laws are passed and how the politics of the country work.
Of course, another message has just come in from one of our listeners here, saying that this whole subject about your activism and the Palestinian cause, it goes back not only during this period,
of course,
but 5-6 years ago, we had ran a campaign where Gaza was flattened then.
Yes.
And we were raising funds for it then.
And I protested for the first time 12 years ago. In 2009 was my first protest, and people were protesting.
So from 2009 to present day, we've had 3 campaigns.
Possibly even 4,
now,
actually.
4. Now, let's go back to the time when Palestine, the idea of it, the whole region was over 100 years ago. Mm-hmm. Then in 1948, the State of Israel came into being, and we have never ever seen anything but bloodshed. Right? Humans taking pleasure and joy, selling weapons to each other and killing each other. Right? Now, is that the 2021 we want to see, or 22? Is that what we want for our children, our grandchildren?
Of course not. And I think the sad reality is, I mean, just last week I was here on the radio talking about Srebrenica in Bosnia. We're still within that period, the anniversary, the 26th anniversary from the 11th to the 22nd of July. And that was the same principle, you know, people killed people in the most horrific ways. So
now, all of you who are listening in right now, send us a message and talk to us and tell us about all the genocides that you know of. Now we're talking about genocide where humans are killing human beings, and one comes to mind in Rwanda in the 90s. Then throughout the 70s, we had the Ugandan massacre where 500,000 people were slaughtered. And we can go right back at least 100 years and we'll find so many genocides, right? So all of you, get involved, empower your knowledge with each other, right? And we can all be better for it. Of course, Vijida, you know what we say here on the radio? On Radio Haj, we say knowledge plus data equals? What does it equal?
What does it equal, Zed?
It equals power, success.
As long as you are responsible with it.
And, oh yeah, I'm surely very responsible with it here. I'm sat here. Now, Vijida, I'd like to thank you for joining me here today for a short half an hour, but we have a long journey, right, to discuss about these issues. And I'd like to put together a lot of good initiatives that we can deliver from the radio.
Inshallah.
So I would like you to come on board and bring to us 5 initiatives that you and I and all the radio team here together can implement, right? Inshallah. And our plan of implementation has to be that we engage with all other stakeholders in the community.
I think it's important to get everyone to unite, so inshallah it'll be great.
And when I say everyone, I mean every human being out there.
Correct. Irrelevant of race or religion or creed.
That's right. And tradition and culture.
Correct.
Right? Thank you very much, Vijida.
Thank you.
I appreciate your presence here today, and we shall look forward to having a banter again.
Inshallah.
Jazakallah khair.
Barakallah feekum.
So we're going to carry on now with the rest of our program today. And that was a very interesting topic here. We were talking about activism and we were talking about racism. Of course, racism, we just touched the little barrel on it. We haven't fully gone through the topic of racism. It has been absolutely very much prevalent after the football. I don't need to tell you all because you have all been watching how 3 young English players, especially I feel absolutely sorry for Saka, 19 years old only, and how his life has been tormented, and also for Rashford, and a lot of things that have been going on, and they'll be continuing to going on. And I'd like to take this opportunity to commend Neville. He absolutely made a very valid comment, and if all of you who are listening in, you will see that Neville, he made points which will have hit many hearts in Parliament, right? They will be absolutely gobsmacked with what Neville had to say. Now, do we say that we have to wait for Neville to come out those comments before change happens? Or should all our stakeholders in Parliament, red, blue, yellow, whichever party you belong to, should come out and be serious about making a difference, right? Don't just give us tokenism, cronyism, and don't just say it for the sake of saying it. Don't say it to score brownie points and eat those custard cream biscuits just for the sake of it. Genuinely get involved and make a difference, right? It's in your hands. It's for our future, for our children, for our grandchildren, that we need to make right all the wrongs that we all have to put our hands up to say that we are guilty. So throughout this week and next week and the week after, we will be discussing more on the HISR. So those of you who don't know what that means, HISR, have a little think about it and see what you can make out of it, and then we'll talk about this some more, because that is what we're going to go down to the root cause of why we have these animosities and why we absolutely are fed up with far rights. From every part of our society, there's a far right, and we need to deal with them. And we need to show the world that these are the fringe minorities that are absolutely destroying our community and we need to address them, and we need to address them collectively in a positive manner. All of us together, meaning myself, you, and the rest of the community from all different diverse backgrounds. As all of you know, in Leicester we have 40 plus diversities. That is what we have in Leicester, 40 plus. Now, I've got some guests with me in the studio now. They're going to introduce themselves, and after that, I'm going to ask them a question. Is how many diversities are there in Leicester, right? So, who's going to go first, to my right or to my left? Assalamu alaikum, sister.
Walaikum salam, brother.
Welcome to Radio Haj.
Thank you for having us here.
Is it your first time?
Yes, it's my first time.
Right, so how we start here when we come first time here is we say what, why, when, how, where. So, so that's...
What's brought us here is the event that's going to be taking place on Friday, the 16th of July.
The first thing when we talk about events is the first question that our listeners will ask is there going to be any food there?
Oh yes, there's going to be different foods.
Well, the hard part has been answered now. All of you listening in right now, there will be food there for sure. So you're all welcome to join now. My sister here is going to tell us more about this event and how we are all going to enjoy this event. So, sister, if you'd like to come closer to the mic, just follow me. Follow me. I got it right after a lot of telling offs from our producer. Now I'm good.
Okay, so this event is about Eid. And all backgrounds coming together to celebrate. As you know, for the past couple of Eids, we've missed them because of the pandemic. So this is about getting everyone, all the communities, all backgrounds, all ethnicities to come together and enjoy and celebrate the Eid. Well, it's like a pre-Eid party. What we're planning to do at the same time is hold stalls with jewelry, food, face painting, accessories, menswear, to everything. So at the same time, we'd like to promote small businesses from home.
How many small businesses or how many stalls will be present there?
There's 21 stalls, 22 stalls.
And have they gone?
Yep, they've all been booked, alhamdulillah.
Okay, great.
We've got a queue of people that are still wanting to join. But obviously we couldn't take them on due to the restrictions of the Taiba Lounge.
Now, obviously, these gatherings of the community, there are also an opportunity to engage with each other.
Yeah.
When you visit there. So, do you have a stall there that will engage communities with each other? Obviously, some of the businesses or some of the service providers will be there, and they're there for the benefit of their business. But it is an opportunity also, isn't it, to build a better, stronger community in the city of Leicester?
Definitely. We have that. We have a lot of businesses that are willing to expand and bring out new things, get some more ideas from the community, and really to find out whether this will turn out to be a good event and what the audience want, what Leicester wants from us, so we can add more to the coming events.
Of course, you will be aware at the radio we have started an initiative called the Power 50. Do you know about the Power 50?
No, no idea.
Power 50 is to engage 50 young people into entrepreneurship or into a professional environment where they are aspiring to become a lawyer. You know, we are all Asians, right? Yeah. We always want the DLA, right? You know what the DLA is? Yeah. What's that?
No, sorry.
The DLA is doctor, lawyer, accountant.
All right. Yeah. I was thinking DVLA.
Yeah, and now we've added the E as well to say engineer. Maro chokro engineer banana chahiye. Do you speak Gujarati?
No, I'm Pakistani.
You Pakistani?
Yes.
What do you speak?
Punjabi.
Punjabi?
Ji.
Oh, mera beta doctor ban gaya.
Yeah, that's it. That's
right?
the way.
So that's how it goes. See, we have a language here to cater for everyone. The only language we don't have here is a Somali and Chinese, because it's a bit hard to learn Chinese.
But there's, mashallah, so many business, inshallah.
So you see, this is very important. All of you now, you're going to start engaging with different people, and we, the community, the established members of the community, those who have been here for many years and who have had their businesses here, it's their responsibility to help out.
Yes,
You
of
know,
course.
as you remember what the government was saying, eat out to help out.
Yes.
And everybody,
Just went.
the rates went mad.
Yeah.
The rates went mad, didn't they? And we had a spike in cases, and that was a very, very dangerous time to have a spike because there was no vaccination. Now we have a vaccination, and we're going to get ill, and it will be a violent, horrible flu, and you will not be hospitalized, inshallah.
Inshallah.
And we pray that we have to live with this COVID. It's going to be here forever. And we have to keep talking to each other, educating each other, and be very mindful and be very careful. Because the whole world is on a reset button. Things cannot be the same,
Yeah.
right? So we have to take that negative and convert it into a positive,
Yeah.
right? So if we have not seen hundreds of people, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Maybe 80 of them were not good for you anyway, right?
Well, sorry, could I add to that? It's because of the pandemic, lots of people have suffered staying at home and gained lots of mental health issues.
Yeah.
So this is another thing why we want the women to get out, the children to
You
get out.
imagine, to that I will say to you one thing, right? There are so many parts of the world right now, what we call home, they don't even have a home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're living on the streets, they're living in tents, right? So sometimes we need to wake ourselves up, and when we are pressing that reset button, we have to be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, look what we have, right? Look at the facilities we have here, right? Today we're all sitting here talking, we are talking about Haj Radio, and we are discussing the merits of Hajj. What was the essence of Hajj all about? And we want to share this with each other, with our children, with our friends, even with our non-Muslims in the community.
Yes.
So when we do these kind of events, we must never forget the spirit of the event.
Yes.
That the event is not just to come together to eat some samosas, some akhni, some lamb biryani, and what else can I tell you of? Samosas, vegetable ones, some korma,
chaat, nihari.
nihari. You mean you're talking about the Karachi nihari?
Yes,
That's me.
that's her.
Oh, that's
I'm
you.
doing Karachi cuisine.
You may
Inshallah. Yeah.
tell you what, I've got a job for you.
Oh, thank you.
Definitely, I've got a job for you, right? Now,
And also, I moved from Scotland as well last year, and then it started.
mashallah, what part of Scotland are you?
Dundee.
Dundee,
Yes.
land of the Okai.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you from the land of the
I
Okai?
know them.
Okai the New.
I know. I know them.
Yes.
I know all of them.
You see,
them.
see, the secret here is we are in Leicester
Yeah.
and we know all about Dundee.
I know.
But you are from Dundee and you didn't know nothing about Leicester.
I know some of the things. I know I been there like 2 times, and we moved last year in February. We sold our business there, takeaway. So we have a plan to do something here when we moved pandemic.
Okay, after the program, I'll show you some of the work that we do here and some of the work that we're looking to do with the Power 50,
Okay.
which you can all go and share with your friends
Yeah,
and
sure,
yeah, that'd
the
be
sisters out there. And I think here, Radio Hajj, Hajj Radio, in Ramadan Radio, and all the other radios that take place throughout the city, we're all working hard to empower our community.
Yes, definitely.
Not only our direct community, but empower all people in the community.
Yes.
And we share our commonality instead of drifting apart from each other for our differences. So this is something we're all responsible to do, right? We don't worry about caste, color, creed, tradition,
In our
culture.
event, everyone is welcome.
Everyone. But
Because
it's
we are
the
spreading in every community. Like,
Yeah. We're hoping that it's
it's
a-
not just for Muslims people. Everyone can come.
We had Dr. Abu Salam here yesterday. He's setting up working hard, organizing the Eid Gara at Victoria Park. We have 2 parks in Leicester, sister. One is Victoria Park and the other one is Spinney Hill Park.
Yeah.
And each year we do 2 Eid Salahs there. And they cost a lot of money. A lot of money they cost, right? Up to 30 to 45,000 pounds.
That's it.
Yeah. Now that's a facility that is for everybody in the community.
Yes.
And it is always a struggle to find the money, always. So there are so many initiatives that are necessary to happen in the city. And I wish sometimes I had a computer that would show me all these initiatives and we truly know what is happening in our city and what we can all do together collectively to make that difference, right? Now, when we are looking around for little money here, there and everywhere, and we know that there are people in the community, we send so much money abroad. Do you know how much money we raise in a year in the Muslim charity sector? 100 million plus.
MashaAllah.
Oh, mashallah.
That's what we raise. Not we as Radio Hajj, but all the charities in England, they raise over 100 million. And most of that is raised in the month of Ramadan. So all this money we send abroad, but some of this money should stay here.
Yes.
In the UK, there are so many organizations doing some absolute fantastic work. And it's our duty to support them.
Of course.
If we don't support them, who will? Do we want a better world for your children, my children, your children, and our grandchildren?
Yes.
Is it our responsibility to make a better tomorrow for them?
Of course it is. Yeah.
So, sister, what I'm saying is we need to look at yesterday when our fathers, our grandfathers came into this country, the hardships that they went through to put us where we are today.
Yes.
We need to learn from all of that. And then we need to try to work out and define what to do today in order to make a better tomorrow for our children, right? So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to make a suggestion. There's 3 of us here.
Yeah.
You make your list, I'll make my list, and you make your list. And we share ideas.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, that's excellent.
Right? And we tell our producers in the room opposite there also to make a list. So that way we get everybody involved.
Yeah.
At least everybody in this building.
Yeah.
And then we can do some fun things together.
Yes.
And the whole process, believe me, when you empower somebody and their father or mother will call you to make du'as for you and thank you, that is your success,
Yeah.
Sure.
right? Money is not the driver here.
Yeah.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to ask any of us, what did you do in dunya? He's going to ask us, what did you do for my ummah, for your brothers and sisters? You are all responsible for all the humans in this world. Black, white, yellow, brown, whatever color they are, right? It's our responsibility. Now, this is what Islam teaches.
Of course.
This is what Islam is about, isn't it? So, when he asks us this question, not talking about how much money you made, were you a DLA? What's a DLA?
Doctor, lawyer, accountant.
I think she's a teacher.
No, I'm
She
not.
is.
I'm not a teacher.
She is. She is.
I'll tell you, if I'm going to tell you what kind of teaching she does, right? She does teaching like an alima does.
Because she's alima, mashallah.
Wow, you see, this is the power of radio.
Have you been reading on me, brother?
Brother, I'm your brother. When we talk about Haj Radio, when you're sitting here on the seat, you develop the skills of just talking to
Yeah.
people. From the quality of their talks, you can establish whether they're a DLA or an alima or what, right? And fantastic, Imagine now if we had a list of all the alimas in Leicester, all of them, right? And we brought them here for a dinner, all of them. And you and I organized the cooking for them,
Sure.
right?
Why not?
And they could share ideas, couldn't they?
Yeah, of course they could.
So that's one of my ideas, yeah?
That's a good idea.
So you and I will do that.
Okay. We should make Karachi Nihari.
So I take it I'm first on the list.
Of course you are, right? And that's one of our jobs on the list that we are making, 5 objectives. So I've done mine. She's partnering with me, so she's as good as done 1. So we got 4 left each. And you got 5 left to do, right?
Do I have to say it now?
No, you don't have to say it now. I mean, this is something you do, and then we pick up on it afterwards, right?
Yeah.
So community development is all of you listening in right now. Put some ideas on the table as to what you want to see be the change that you want to see in this world. Be the change yourself and make it happen. You know, you can put these ideas down. Maybe it's not in your power to make them happen, but somebody in the team will be there to pick up on that and say, I like that. I'll help with that, right? If we don't engage with each other, how are we going to go forward?
It's true.
Right? And is it not our responsibility?
Of course it is, yeah.
And it's our responsibility to make it happen, to make a better world tomorrow. We need to engage with all the people in the community. So now we're going to go back to your event, right? So tell us exactly, where is this Taiba Lounge?
It's on Evington Valley Road,
Yeah?
next to a supermarket called Pack Foods. The event's going to be held there. We've got from 11 a.m. till 10 p.m.
Okay, that's near the Taiba...
The Taiba Lounge. the
Taiba
actual
Lounge, that's
banqueting
Masjid
hall.
Bilal.
Right, that's
Next to
correct.
the Masjid al-Bilal.
In between
Okay.
is the masjid. Yeah.
Right now, guys, I'm going to tell you all now, when you come there on... Is it on
Friday, this Jummah.
this Jummah, right? Friday. Now, straight away, all of you people who leave the Jummah, good idea, pop in there and have some... What they're going to get? Just...
Lamb biryani, Punjabi samosa. the
There's
best
also
Punjabi Pakistani samosa.
There's also Memon Akni, there's also inshallah chai, chocolate
Chai,
fountain.
cakes, so many things. Clothes, men's
Menswear.
clothes, yeah.
Of course, now, when the money is raised here, will all the stallholders keep their money, or will they plow some back into our community initiatives?
We've not told them to, because I think that's between them and
Yeah.
their good deed. If they're
Okay,
doing.
I think it's a good mention. All of you stallholders, 21 of you, if you do well there, it won't do any harm to put some money into a pot, which my sisters here will call that the community pot, so that they're able to have some funds to organize more activities for the community, right?
Correct.
And I will take the opportunity to also introduce you to other groups who have also done similar work like yourselves. And it's very important to engage a lot of young people with what you're doing. Because one of the problems is, in community development, we have issues of sustainability. The older people, they have a different dynamic, and then every decade there are changes in the family, or a job, or you've moved out of the city, you've got 2 more children, you've got responsibilities in the family, and you're not able to do this work. So the best thing is young people who are 14, 15, 16, to engage them with this. Now, we've got 12 minutes left. I want to ask you a question. You're an alima. Do you have girls who are coming to study with you, Quran Shif?
No, not as of yet, because
Okay.
Obviously I have some young children which I couldn't commit to.
I see. So do you know alimas who are doing this work?
Yes, they are. And
Right.
but I am also at the inshallah after Eid I'm starting. I've had a Muslim sister who wasn't a Muslim before, who was reverted. So I'm giving my time to her to teach her the Quran from Tajweed up, because she's 40 plus.
Yeah.
So I'm helping this Muslim sister. Alhamdulillah, she's just reverted.
Of course, that is a very, very gallant work to do, is to help them, because if you don't help and support any revert, then they can say, well, what's the point?
Yeah.
What's this all about? And when you're doing that, Allah Ta'ala rewards you for that, right? Because one of the things that you know more than I do is that it's an absolute good swab for that, right?
Brother, sorry, could I just add? That's the reason, one of the inspirations why this event came about. There was a lot of Muslim new revert sisters who don't have Eid to do with their family, because their family haven't, obviously come to Islam. So for them, Eid is a new thing. So a lot of sisters said there's nothing for us to do on Eid, whereas though our Muslim community get on and go to their families and they enjoy, and these revert sisters, they get left back because they don't know what to do. So these Eid events and these gatherings are very important for them and their children to come and see the real blessings of Eid and especially the Hajj days.
Yeah.
So that is one of the main reasons that we actually held this event.
Of course, I've got another good idea here now.
Yeah.
My second Haj Radio idea is to ask our sister here to come and sit where I'm sitting and give some fantastic nasihas to our ladies, our sisters in the community. right? Because you can see that she's well spoken.
She's really,
You can see, you can feel.
I know.
When you're around her, don't you feel positive energy?
Yes.
Right?
She is.
And
mashallah.
imagine when she's sitting here and she's reaching out to all our ladies in the community with all that positive energy, she'll be transferring the goodness to them. And is there a swab for that or not?
I think
Of
so.
course there is, but I think all of us can add
So,
a bit by bit. I
Yeah,
think
what
we
you
should
need
all
to
add.
do is you got to get to your home office, you got to get clearance for this task, and you got to have a go,
Yeah.
right? And this is all to do with community development, right? And reaching out to many, many people who are out there listening. You will be shocked and surprised as to how much many people out there in the community, they need to reach out. They need to hear a voice. They need to relate to somebody. They need inspiration, right? You mentioned earlier on about COVID, how people are at home and they've become detached.
Yes.
And they are shouting and they're screaming. And the sabr is gone out of
The
them.
sabr, yes.
Right? And how many times is sabr mentioned in the Holy Quran? How many times? Yeah, take a guess. My producer, do you want to guess? Right? Who wants to take a guess? Brother Fahim wants to take a guess?
10?
No,
15?
sister, no. It's
More than that?
more than that. Yeah, much more than that. There is a bit of a homework for both of you. How
Yeah.
many times the word sabr, S-A-B-R, sabr? Literally every surah, all 114 of them, has got
Yes.
a mention of sabr, right? And if we don't have that sabr, right, what happens to us? Right? We have problems. Right? When we speak to each other, how we address every issue at home, in our workplace, wherever we go, we will have a problem. Right? So this is what we all have to learn about. And now these people that you will reach out to, you will make a lot of difference to them, for sure. And I think you, as her partner,
Yeah, we are partners.
can help and support her, can't you?
Partners and
Are you good with the idea?
yeah.
So how did you engage with Haj Radio then?
How did we, through Sanna here?
Yeah, my
Okay.
friend told me about it. Yeah.
Okay, your friend told you. Well, make some good wishes to your friend. That
Inshallah,
she-
inshallah. She's listening.
She's listening in right now.
Yeah. I think
Okay.
Maimuna,
Okay,
I think she works
okay,
I think in the
Jazakallah.
radio as well.
Maimuna is one of our teachers here at the radio, right? She tells us, go right, we have to go right. You know, she's an expert, you know. We take a lot of inspiration from her. So you see, here on the radio, it's not about leave it to the men, they'll sort it out. No, without the women, this radio will close down tomorrow, right? The women, the children, the men, we're all integral part of this community. And we can all contribute like you cannot believe. In the old days, it wasn't like that. Today, there are more women in the city than there are men, right? Now, you read that in the Quran, haven't you? That in times that will come ahead,
Will be.
there'll be big imbalance between
Izafa in, yeah.
men and women, right? And here we meet some absolute women who are gifted. They have so much knowledge. If they are not an alima, they're in a professional environment, and they have so much to give to the community. Now, all of you listening in right now, if we don't take the benefit of their experience, then we will all be sad for it, right? In the community, they are in professional jobs. And did you know that the women are beating the men right now in academia? Do you know that? Right? Now, here's a bit of knowledge I'm going to give to you today. I'm going to ask you both a question. How many diversities there are in Leicester? You're from Leicester originally?
No, I'm actually from Manchester.
You're from Manchester, right? Manchester is the third biggest city in England, but in the city of Leicester, there are almost 400,000 people. In the last census, there were 357, but I think the real figure is around 400. So let's stick with the round figure. And amongst that, how many different diversities we have? I mentioned it earlier on.
In just Leicester.
In Leicester only, yeah. We have over 40 diversities.
Wow.
If you go to one school in Highfields and start counting, you'll be 40 plus. That means there are 40 different people there, right? When we came to this country, there was an Indian, there was a Pakistani, and there was a Sikh,
Yeah.
right? Then there were Bangladeshis. But here when we came, we were all referred to as one name.
As Asians.
No, we were all called Pakis.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
That was the title given to all of us, right? But today, we have Eastern Europeans, we have Afghanistanis, we have Iraqis, we have Syrians, we have Iranians. We have so many African country nationalities here also.
Yeah.
From West Africa, from South Africa, from East Africa. And you can carry on counting. That homework will never finish. You can catch all this information on Google. Now, what I'm trying to explain to everybody listening in right now, that we all have to adapt to change, to understand how to work with all these
Community.
different communities, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He never said to anyone that in this mosque I only want this community to come. He said everyone to come.
Of
Yes?
course.
Now when we go to Hajj, you see the beauty when we're doing tawaf. How many different people do you see doing tawaf?
Loads of different people.
And it's unbelievable, isn't it? And to your right, there's one language spoken. To your left, there's another language spoken. So this is what the essence and the merits is of our deen, that in the spirit of Hajj, 3 million people would come there. This year, there will only be 60,000 because of the COVID. And you see so many different diversities. But when we leave there, we come back, we just stay with our community. And we don't engage
Yeah.
with our community. Now, it's our responsibility as Muslims that we take the footsteps, that everyone who follows those footsteps, we lead them the right way.
Yeah.
If we take the wrong footsteps, the people that you are talking to now, the revered sister, imagine if she sees you doing wrong, will she be inspired or will she leave?
No.
You
She
can't risk
obviously-
that, can you?
Yes, can't, yes, because I'm representing the deen.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what we all have to do. The footsteps we take today will define us tomorrow, my sister.
Yeah.
That everyone has to take heed of that, right? That the children, our grandfathers before us, they didn't have access to the data that we have access to today via Google, via internet, with social media and everything. So we have to use all that information in a positive manner, right? So back to Evington Valley Road, Taiba Lounge, Friday, straight after Jummah. So if you go to Taiba Lounge, they do Jummah there between 1 and 1:30. After the khutbah, after the Jummah Salah, you will finish your prayers, you come out, and inshallah, the traffic from Jummah will fill that Taiba Lounge.
Inshallah.
Now, all of you ladies who are working hard right now with your menus, and you come there, we wish them success,
Thank you.
right? And we will connect you with both my sisters here. If anyone wants to have their details, we can provide them to you, and you can keep in touch with them. So, sisters, I would like you once again to introduce yourselves so people remember.
Okay, so I'll go first. My name is Sadia Ahmed
Sadia Ahmed from
from Hamilton.
ex-Manchester, now in Hamilton,
Yes.
right? And
I'm
you-
Sanna Sajid, and I just moved
ex-Dundee,
ex-Dundee. I just moved in Leicester.
now in Leicester, expert nihari maker from
Bihari
Karachi.
biryani maker.
And biryani maker. Now, I've already got a fan for you. Is the Leicester's top food critic. He's sitting right there.
Jazakallah.
What his job is to do tasting,
Okay.
testing,
Okay.
and then he has that talent where he says, "Wow, yummy! This is delicious."
Okay.
I can't do it like him. The way he does it,
Okay.
everybody follows him.
Is it?
MashaAllah.
You see, he's got that voice. So I think we're all going to keep in touch with each other.
Inshallah.
So
Thank
if
you.
you'd like to just say salams, both of you.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum.
And thank you for having us here
Yeah.
today.
I hope you enjoyed the program.
Oh, yes, we did. Thank you very much.
So
for having us.
Jazakallah all. We shall
All
be
welcome
back.
as well.
Yeah, we shall be back tomorrow, and I look forward to seeing you on Friday at the Taiba Lounge. Jazakallah khair
Assalamu alaikum.
from Haj Radio.